Okay, now coming back to the study of the regulating the nature, I think it's common understanding that human beings have been managing the nature ever since the first man walked the earth, and to some extent, the power of man is demonstrated by his ability to alter the nature the way that fits his need. And we have many examples of that, from the creation of irrigation system, mining technology, forestation, or deforestation, to man-made island, hydraulic drilling, and geoengineering technology that enables us to change the weather. So no other species on this planet has such power to change the nature. But we must, think about this very carefully, about how we acquire this power. And our understanding of this has a huge impact on the way we conduct our economic life and view of the world. And this will also have important consequences on the fate of mankind. The sage's teaching tells us that the power of man is acquired through the most complete sincerity. The most complete sincerity. Okay, well, at first sight, this seems a bit far-fetched. As modern people, we would have thought that the power of human beings in transforming the planet comes from his will of survival, logical reasoning, and the ability to remember and digest complicated concepts, right? Well, of course, these are true. The ancient sages went a few steps further and deeper and explored the fundamental drivers of this power. And the doctrine of sincerity is the result of careful and thorough study of the truth. This is recorded in the chapter of the Doctrine of the Mean in the Book of Rites. Before we talk about the power or knowledge, or whatever you call it, a man must be able to develop his own nature. So what does that mean? Well, a man must first be a man. A human must do what a human does. So in doing so, he must raise his or her ethical standard, increase his endurance and patience, repay those who are merciful to him, and be benevolent to those who hurt him, and practice the 5 moral constants. They are not external things or man-made rules, but they are the innate nature of human beings, and the nature of human beings, as you know, is good. So only after he develops his own nature in such a way can he then develop the nature of others, because he understands, right, the goodness of the people, and he can inspire the others to do the same. One man doesn't form a society, we know that, but 2 men will. The society will not exist when there is conflict. Therefore, a fully developed human nature is the key to harmony and the proper functioning of human society. This is beyond the invention of technology, because the same technology that helps human life can also destroy it. So I guess only when human nature is fully developed can the nature be developed. You can see there is a sequence here, right? So now we have switched from human development to the material world. Such development of the nature can mean many things. Not only does it include the use and altering of the nature, but also the invention of useful technology that helps human life with no side effect. So I guess my point here is that the development of technology only comes halfway into the story. But the problem with the modern world is that we only start from the technology and treat it as the only condition of success. well, the necessary outcome and consequence is disaster. The development of human nature is the first and foremost task of being a human being. It precedes the development of material world. But to do that, there is yet one condition. It is having a complete, sincere mindset. So what does that mean, complete, sincere mindset? Sincerity means treating everything and everyone with complete equality. That's what sincerity means. Not just the people or animal, but also all things, such as trees, water, mountain, clothes, air conditionings, books, etc. From the most intelligent creatures to a rock, we treat all objects equally. Okay, why? Why do we do that? Right? What's the theoretical basis for this? Well, in the flower ornament scripture, the Buddha says, all organic and inorganic beings have the same perfect knowledge and Buddhahood, whereas Buddhahood is the state of enlightenment. The Venerable Master Ching Kung explains that the perfect knowledge is the knowledge of everything. It is the most complete understanding of the universe. Now, even though we have not achieved enlightenment, eventually we'll be able to do that. Even the trees, flowers, earth, and river will achieve enlightenment. And of course, this is extremely difficult to comprehend. It's not until recently, when the discovery of in quantum physics helps us to have a better grasp of the Buddha's teaching. In the Master's Dharma lecture, he said that all the physical matters can perceive and respond to information. This is, true even to the smallest particle. So we human beings can certainly perceive information. And this ability allows us to differentiate between different colors, sound, as well as kind thoughts and wicked thoughts. But this ability is common to all inorganic beings and materials as well. Dr. Masaru Emoto conducted a series of experiments and found that human consciousness has an effect on the molecular structure of water. The ice crystal shows beautiful pattern after the liquid water is set in the cup with the word love on it, on the cup. And the pattern is ugly if the cup has a negative message on it. The experiment was repeated over 100,000 times and gave very similar pattern. The Huayan Laboratory also carried out very similar experiment since established in 2010. The lab has conducted more than 300,000 water experiments under strictly controlled environment to rule out endogenous factors, and found that water does respond to messages very consistently. You can watch the documentary in the link on the lecture slides. Now, an immediate implication of this discovery is that our mind and thoughts have a visible impact on our health. Why? Well, because 70% of our body is liquid. A person who is calm and able to control his mood is more likely to be healthy. I think we can safely reach this conclusion by, just simply making an observation of people around us. The more subtle, yet more important implication is that our mind and thoughts determine our living condition and environment, despite of some lags. But the ancient sages were, already aware of this. The discovery of water experiment is very consistent with the Buddha's teaching 3,000 years ago about the equal intelligence between all beings, both organic and inorganic. And this serves as a foundation of the principle of equality in Buddhism and more generally in traditional Chinese culture. This philosophy equally serves as the theoretical foundation of our doctrine of sincerity, because all particles and materials have the same intelligence, so when we look at them, we're also looking at ourselves. Therefore, we show to all things the same respect as to all the sages. Now, this also explains why we need to respect everybody, everyone, sage or non-sage, old, young, friends and enemies. We shouldn't have any enemies, but let's just call them someone that we don't like, because every living being has the same Buddhahood, only that not everybody has realized that. Now, sincerity and respect is the proper way the human should interact with the nature, not conquering, but sincerity and respect. So by knowing the sage's teaching on universal equality, we're now able to gradually raise the sense of sincerity and respect. And by being sincere, can we then talk about human development, human power and development, and regulating the material world that fits our purpose. But without deeply reflecting upon the concept of sincerity, equality, respect, human development, and just jumping straight to the stage of human power and material development, the consequence is misuse of knowledge, war, and disaster. So the above sequence of development process is also reflected in Xunzi's writing. Okay, in his essay on heaven, Xunzi focuses on the last 2 points, okay, of the above sequence, and points out that the production of wealth must be conditional on the understanding of natural principle. In particular, he said, strongly clinging to the primary industry and saving expenditure, heaven cannot make you poor. When the subsistence is complete and working at a due time, heaven cannot make you sick. If the primary industry is neglected and the expenditure is extravagant, heaven cannot make you rich. If the subsistence is insufficient and the working time is contrary to the natural law, heaven cannot make you healthy. So this means that the nature works based on its own principle and is not created by the sages. If people manage the nature properly based on its own principle, there will be prosperity. Otherwise, there will be disaster. According to Xunzi, the primary industry is agriculture, and the natural law of survival is such that nourishment is unlikely to be low if there is sufficient agricultural production, while wastage is minimized. In the ancient times, we know, right, that the provision of food was the primary concern of the population. And this emphasis on primary industry may seem obvious, but history shows that people sometimes are indeed distracted by the less useful productions such as expensive jewelries and entertainment, while the primary industry is neglected. And as a result, man-made famine occurred. I think this is still an applicable principle in modern world, and not just in natural resources management, but all aspects of country governance. For example, in managing a country's financial and banking system, we need to ask ourselves, what is the primary purpose of financial system? Well, to name a few, right? To share risk among market participants, to provide insurance, to provide liquidity, to promote important and strategic investment, etc. But sometimes the industry is distracted into creating pure speculative derivatives and markets that is not only unproductive to people's life, but also harmful to the economy. This is the manifestation of Xunzi's concept of natural principle in modern finance and banking. And if we look at the past events of financial crisis, we can see how easy it is for the primary focus to just slip away from our focus, which results in disasters. So in order to, avoid this distraction, decision makers must first develop their own conscience and ask themselves, what is the most important purpose? Decision makers must be selfless, with full integrity, and always keep the true benefit of the people in mind. This is much more important quality than which elite group that they might come from or degree certificate. Because a biased decision maker may design a system that benefits certain groups at the expense of others. Now, if this happens, then every step is wrong down the line. So overall, the teaching of ancient sages on the utilization and regulation of natural resources is based on sincerity and respect to the world, and also on the development of human nature. The material and technological side of human power only comes after the development of human nature.